Sooner Scoop HD.
UVA football, their football family, everything that's gone on and transpired up there. Cannot imagine being in the building today and going through what they're going through. So, wanted to start with that.
Yeah, Jeff, y'all talked a lot about the importance of finishing strong, and obviously a piece of that is getting bowl eligibility. How important is that aspect of things for this team, and what are some of the most important things about reaching that milestone?
Yeah, it's incredibly important. It's incredibly important that we go 1-0 this week. Finding a way to get it done on Saturday is something that we need to have happen. And the importance of playing in a bowl game. There's a lot of things that go into that, but first year staff, obviously, I think the biggest thing is more time with our guys. That's the first thing that comes to mind. And again, we've got to go find a way to get it done on Saturday.
When you get to this point in the year and the penalties and some of those things that have been a frustration in week 3, 4, 5, and they're still cropping up this time of year, what does that tell you about where this group is at, or what do you tie that to?
Yeah, I think the frustrating thing is, right, you look at winning football, championship football, you're talking about from a goal standpoint, you want to be 1-30, 1-32 plays without a penalty, right? So that's kind of what the mind frame is. That's where you're looking at when you're looking at teams that are the least penalized teams in college football playing at a championship level. They're right around 1-30. And yesterday or Saturday, we were 1-34. The biggest issue is that both penalties that we had offensively took points off the board. And so those two penalties were not just big penalties, but they changed the entire game. And that's the most frustrating part is that, we go play the plays that we play. We have two penalties, and both of them took points off the board. So it's not good enough. We can't do that in short yardage situations. We got to have better attention to detail. On the 3rd and 1 where we walk into the end zone and it's a perfectly legal play, but we're past the line of scrimmage by, about 12 inches. So it can't happen. Got to coach it better. Got to execute it cleaner. And we're sitting here talking about something completely different today.
Jeff, obviously it was another big game for Eric Gray, and you talked after the game about it being frustrating with how well he's playing, not getting the results you guys are looking for. Just what are your conversations like with him in terms of keeping his confidence up and knowing the results may come as well as he's playing?
Right, exactly what we said after the game. The stress to him is the fact that I hate that he's playing his butt off, but nobody gets to enjoy it. He doesn't get to enjoy it. He doesn't feel good about it. Nobody's happy. Everybody's disappointed and frustrated, and he's worked incredibly hard to have the production that he's had. But at the end of the day, Eric knows as much as anybody that this is about winning, and we got to win for us to do what we need to do.
In his role over these last couple of weeks, seems like he's grown. He's doing a lot with these touches. How much is it of a balance with riding him with how well he's doing, but not overworking him? Is there a balance there?
Yeah, I think there is absolutely a balance, especially getting this late in the season. Again, he's had incredible production. He's worked tirelessly to give himself the opportunity to play at a high level every single snap. So we're going to continue to force it to him while having some understanding of what we need to do so he can catch his breath too.
Braden Willis has 5 catches combined the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Does anything dramatically change in the way they're going against him? Or?
No, I think just situationally it didn't happen. Obviously, he had a catch for a touchdown that got called back for OPI. Tried to force it to him on a 4th and 6 and got batted where he's wide open, and we're not able to connect there on 4th down. So there's a couple of situational things where he was the guy that was getting it and didn't work out.
Back left.
Yeah, Jeff, the continued glitches or dysfunction or whatever you want to call it in the passing game, especially on the deep throws. At what point, you're 10 games into this, at what point is there a resignation this isn't going to work, or we just keep repping it, or how do you kind of go back and forth between the ball that was up in the air and another one, that was just slightly overthrown? Just a little bit off here and there, or do you guys start thinking about other things?
No, we've got to create more chunks in the throw game that has not not gone our way here the last few weeks, to say the least. So we've got to make those plays. We've got to make some competitive plays as well. Obviously, the elements the other day were part of it in the fourth quarter primarily, but outside of that, we had opportunities to make plays and get away from them, and we didn't. And that's something that's got to change.
Marvin talked about his gloves were wet, and then he took his gloves off and his hands got cold.
Yeah.
That's not something you can really rep at practice. I mean, you have to fight through the elements.
Yeah,
how do you cope?
They played with it just like we did. It was raining for both sides. And at the end of the day, we didn't make the plays we needed to make. We didn't coach the way we needed to coach. I didn't coach the way I needed to coach to get it done. That's the bottom line.
James?
You were with Dylan at UCF, and he had so many great games. Are you a little surprised he's been so inconsistent, or not so inconsistent, but just a little inconsistent, that he hasn't been able to connect on the deep throws? And does he have the ability to audible out of plays and go to something else?
Yeah, so the first piece of it, I'm surprised that we haven't created more chunks in the throw game, without a doubt. And again, I think you've seen, if you go back and you watch it, there's been great opportunities where we hadn't connected. And so that is surprising. It's frustrating because you got a chance to get away from these guys at times in multiple games where we don't. So yes, that's surprising and frustrating. The next thing is Dylan has freedom more post-snap than he does pre-snap because we play with the tempo we play with, because we're playing so fast. We're trying to, again, create a bunch of stress, and then his decision-making is going to happen post-snap, which really from a decision standpoint, Dylan's been pretty clean. Got to continue to get a heck of a lot better, but I think the stress is just creating those chunks in the throw game for him.
Could you talk about OSU's defense, especially their front?
Yeah. The biggest thing that stands out is they're league leading in third down. They've been great in third down. Obviously, with the way we played third down on Saturday, that'll be a huge deal for us on Saturday. So that's the thing that sticks out initially, and then creating some turnovers. They've done a great job of that, creating 5 turnovers last week versus Iowa State. So we've got to be great situation and take care of the rock.
Okay, second row, Mason Young.
You guys have had Robert Conjal go in a little bit, whether alternating with McCade or coming in for Andrew there at the end. Just your thoughts on the job that he's done the past couple weeks.
Yeah, Rob's done a good job since he's got back and been healthy, and we expected that. And he's a big, physical, strong guy that knows what to do, plays hard, plays fast, and Rob's played well.
That group as a whole, I mean, obviously Eric's having great success on the ground. Is that group still doing everything you would hope to expect out of it in pass protection?
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the tape from Saturday, and from a run game standpoint, did some great things, and really in pass protection outside of 3 plays, we were really, really good. Dylan, again, had a really clean pocket. We weren't able to connect on some things, again, that were frustrating, but it's obvious it's not always on 8, and it's not always on the wideouts. It's all 11 of us doing the right thing at the right time. But up front, we've continued to play better and better, and I think that's why you're seeing us run the football the way we are.
You mentioned the defensive front for Oklahoma State. You've seen a lot of talented defensive lines. What makes this group kind of unique as opposed to some of the other skill sets you see in the Big 12?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just effort and not staying on blocks. These guys do an unbelievable job of getting off of blocks, not staying blocks, and getting to the football. And so when you see that on tape, you understand exactly what the game's going to be like on Saturday. These guys are going to play tough. They're going to play hard. They don't stay blocked. So we got to match and surpass that effort.
Jeff, I want to go back to Eric Gray with you. When you think about his personality and the kind of person he is, what are some of the first things that pop to your mind, and both as it relates to football and what kind of player he is, and then just his personality in general away from the game?
Yeah, EG's a pro. He's serious about being really, really good, and that's probably what I respect about him as much as anything, is that since the day that I got here, he's been the same guy from a program standpoint, a preparation standpoint, a toughness, energy, and again, the consistency of who he's been, and that's really his personality. That's who he is outside of football. He's great in the classroom. He's an unbelievable young man. He does things right on the field, but he does things right all the time off the field. And so that's a credit to him. He got an unbelievable mom and dad that support the heck out of him, great family, and I'm proud of that dude.
Some of those things that you mentioned, how does that help those other guys in that room? Obviously, a pretty young, inexperienced room outside of him. How does that help him, especially as you look down the road?
Yeah, I mean, I think those guys understand what it's supposed to look like. They get to see it every single day. They see a guy that spends as much time or more time in the building than anybody else, and that's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to look like. So he's set a great example for the entire room.
Jeff, with senior night on Saturday, just what is this program? What has Braden Willis been to this program, and then specifically just his decision to come back? Obviously, he's played pretty well for him now. Just what has it been like for his football future going forward, and then what will this program be like without him, I guess, going forward?
Yeah, again, I've said this a bunch, but B. Will is, man, he's what Oklahoma football is all about. He's blue collar, he's tough, he's passionate, he's an incredible teammate. So we're going to miss him. He's been someone that's been incredibly loyal to Oklahoma, which I respect as much as anything. And he's a guy that's going to have an unbelievable career as he moves forward. I think he's going to have an opportunity to play for a long time. He's created a ton of value for himself coming back and playing the way he's played, which makes me proud of that too.
I'm just curious, what was the conversation like on the field goal, right before the field goal, the fourth down try, 4th and 3?
Yeah.
Were you lobbying, hey, Coach, I think we can get it here, I got one dialed up, or what's that like?
You know, Coach felt like at that point in time, again, throughout the day, we'd played great D, and, felt like getting 3 points on the board was going to be a huge deal. Obviously, on the 3rd and 3, running the football, one, because of the elements, two, because felt like if we got into a 4th and 1, it would have been a go at that point where we had the ability to stay on the field. But, again, Zach's been so good as well. So that was kind of the discussion as we were going through it, and that's where we ended on it.
Back to James.
Backup quarterback situation developing. I mean, we haven't talked to you about that in 2 or 3 weeks. How's
Yeah.
it going?
It's been good. Nick's continued to get more and more work, and coming along, General's gotten more work, and then Davis has continued to get a bunch of the time as well. So all three of those guys have done a good job. They have been incredibly committed to being better every single day, every single week, and so that part's been good.
You talked a lot about Oklahoma State's front. What are they doing in the back end, their secondary, or how do they play back there?
Yeah, they've been solid. Again, they've created turnovers. I think that's the biggest thing that, again, sticks out is that they've made plays on the ball. They've got a bunch of eyes on the football, and they've made plays.
Sooner Scoop HD.